Major Wolfgang Falk, the founder of the Luftwaffe's night fighter force, once said that without a radar, night fighting was like trying to catch a fly with your hands in a dark room. In the summer of 1941, the Liechtenstein radar was the earliest airborne radar available to the Luftwaffe in World War II and was the first used exclusively for air interception. Developed by Telefunken, it was available in at least 4 major revisions until 1945. The first one was the FUG-202 Liechtenstein BC. FUG stands for Funkgerät or radio set. Here you can see its display, which was operated by the radio operator or Bordfunker behind the pilot. The left tube indicated other aircraft ahead, the center tube indicated range to a specific target and whether they were higher or lower, and the right tube indicated whether the target was to left or right. On the night of the 8th of August 1941, Ludwig Becker and his radio operator became the first Luftwaffe night fighter crew to intercept an enemy bomber using airborne radar. They tracked and claimed a Vickers Wellington bomber shot down. Ludwig Becker became a night fighter ace, credited with 44 aerial victories, making him one of the most successful nocturnal fighter pilots in the Luftwaffe. But the radar required very complex matratze or mattress antennas consisting of 32 dipole elements mounted in 4 groups of 8, each at the forward end of one of 4 forward projecting masts. In tests by the Luftwaffe pilots, it was found that the Liechtenstein BC decreased the maximum speed of a Messerschmitt Bf 110 by 40 km per hour. Another major disadvantage was its inferior ability to cut through ground clutter, leading to very poor performances at lower altitudes and making it useless near ground level. During 1943, the Liechtenstein BC was improved as the FUG-212 Liechtenstein C1 with longer range and wider angle of view, still using the very complex area set. By this point in the war, the British had become experts on jamming German radars. The subsequent refinement of Window rendered Liechtenstein BC almost useless for several crucial weeks. Window was a British radar countermeasure in which aircraft or other targets spread a cloud of small, thin pieces of aluminium, metallized glass fiber, or plastic, which either appears as a cluster of primary targets on radar screens or swams the screen with multiple returns in order to confuse and distract. By late 1943, the Luftwaffe was starting to deploy the greatly improved FUG-220 Liechtenstein SN2, which was far less affected by electronic jamming, but this required the much larger Hirschgeweih or stag's antlers antennas with only 8 dipole elements, looking like a much enlarged version of what occupied the forward end of each one of the earlier quadruple masts. This setup also produced tremendous drag and slowed the operating aircraft by up to 50 km per hour. The first SN2 set had a problem with a huge minimum range of 900 meters, initially requiring the retention of a supplementary BC or C1 set with its full sets of 4 masts. But the alarming drag that full sets of both types of antennas caused from both radars being installed later changed the requirement to only 1/4 subset of the earlier array at the end of a single mast, centrally mounted on the nose of the aircraft when the BC or C1 radar remained installed. Improvement in early 1944 led to a newer SN2 version with lower minimum range, which allowed the older radar system to be removed entirely. Next came the FUG 217 and 218 Neptune radar set. These had been initially developed for use in single-engine night fighters, but were later adapted for use aboard twin-engine aircraft. These series of radars came in a variety of configurations as they were further developed and pressed into wider service. The Neptune 217 was a search radar, had a maximum search angle of 120 degrees, a maximum range of 4 kilometers with a minimum of 400 meters and a total weight of 35 kilograms. This set was installed to some Messerschmitt Me-262A1 jet fighters in the last month of the war. The subsequent Neptune 218 radar included 4 new frequency settings along the same range, had a maximum range of 5 kilometers with a minimum of 120 meters, and possessed the same search angle as the previous model. Both radars could be mounted in a stag antler array and also in a rod-type mounting arrangement, which consisted of individual antennas attached to the airframe of the aircraft. And last came the FUG 240 Berlin. The Berlin model was installed primarily in Juncker's Ju-88 G6 night fighters behind a plywood radome. It was the last to see operational use during the war. It also being the first and only centrimetric aerial search radar to see service with the Luftwaffe. It had a range of roughly 9 kilometers, a minimum of 300 meters, and a search angle of 55 degrees, and weighed approximately 180 kilograms, but had no serious altitude limitations. While only 25 Berlin sets were delivered to the Luftwaffe, they made successful use of them from March of 1945. While these new devices were free of the heavy jamming the SN2 faced. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.